This week, we're asking a deceptively simple question. What kind of person accepts a job they're completely unqualified to do? From the acting director of national intelligence to billion-dollar ballroom projects and even a detour into the bizarre world of Power Slap, we're exploring what happens when loyalty becomes more important than competence and confidence becomes a substitute for expertise. So pour yourself a drink, lower your expectations for humanity, and join us as we examine the psychology behind people who look at impossible jobs and somehow say, yeah, I can do that. Hold my beer. This is Shrink the Nation. Let's go.
This is Shrink the Nation, a podcast for thoughtful, informed adults, preferably holding a drink and definitely holding a thought. The views expressed here are ours alone. They do not represent our employers, institutions, licensing boards, government agencies, bourbon distilleries, or most emphatically, our families. They've been very clear about that. This show is for education and entertainment only. Nothing you hear is medical, psychiatric, legal, or professional advice. We're clinicians, not your clinicians. If something we say stirs you up, that's not a crisis, that's a journal entry, or an email sent politely. We're here to challenge ideas, not diagnose strangers on the internet. And if you are in real distress, please reach out to a professional who can actually help you. All right, hey, welcome back to Shrink the Nation. I am David. I am a board-certified psychiatrist. I have served time in the military, and that
Oh, I
is
thought you were going to talk about your prison time there.
prison, military prison, time served,
He's
whatever.
he's
It's all
served
fucking
time,
same.
folks.
Robbie, we were discussing before we started that today I am gulping possibly this Basil Hayden toast. It is distilled by the James B. Beam Distilling Company, which I think is a fancy way of saying Jim Beam. And uh yeah, it's tastes like bourbon.
It
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 tastes like
does.
I feel like we maybe at some point we shouldn't just try to drink a bourbon, but rather bring a couple of different bourbons to sample as we go so that there is something different about them. Because I feel like if you just go a week, which is about the amount of time that I do before I drink bourbon again, it all fucking tastes the same.
You forget. Hey, everyone, thanks for joining us. This is Rob, 30 years in psychiatry. No, wait, 26 years in psychiatry, 30 years in the military. I have never served time in prison, though, as opposed to my colleague here. Yeah, so, I've often jokingly said they all taste the same. I mean, you taste a bourbon, you know you're drinking a bourbon, but boy, there is a difference between, say, an Old Crow and a Knob Creek or an Elijah Craig. There's a difference between, a bottle and bond Evan Williams versus straight Jim Beam. Like straight Jim Beam, regular Jim Beam is so sweet that it just tastes weird to me. So they all taste different. It's just you do probably need to have them setting next to one another.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going with that. It's not they taste like bourbon, but yeah, it's a little different. I mean,
Yeah,
there's restaurant spaghetti and there's mom spaghetti. I mean, they're both spaghetti, but
technically spaghetti. Yeah,
one is preferred.
the
Uh,
restaurant.
so we are going to talk again. I feel like this theme keeps popping up over and over and over again because as it turns out, Robbie, when your primary discussions are centered around the government or the politics and the center of attention, or at least the person who needs to be the center of attention, does things to make themselves the center of attention, you end up talking a lot about that. I'm kind of longing for the day that we can talk about something else that isn't just based completely on the misadventures of our POTUS. But I also feel like if we weren't talking about this, it would be like we were ignoring some of the more relevant things that are going on. And if anything, 10 years from now, when this show has been dead and gone for
9 years, 9 months.
there will be some record of this beyond what keeps happening. Like January 6th, 2021 is often called a day of joy and love. And if anybody who calls watching the video of it as it was occurring, there wasn't a lot of joy or a lot of love happening. So at least we'll keep a record of this craziness that we're watching. But I would actually appreciate it if the guy would just like take a fucking break for like a week.
Before we jump into these topics, that's actually something that I was hitting at earlier is that I have this prevailing sense of boredom with it. at this point. Like, I don't care what crazy thing, what nutty, over the top, oh my gosh, I can't believe that at any other time in history. My prevailing experience with it is like a deep sigh. I get the vapors. I get the vapors now.
You and Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, we clutch our pearls, we get the vapors. It occurs to me that there is some psychodynamic power to that when you're over the top 24/7, 365, it wears people down. It's kind of the child that, can I, 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 can I? And you finally like, yes, you can do it, whatever, just shut up fine. And that's the phenomenon that we're dealing with. And I think that's partly how a lot of this gets passed through. Shamelessness and
For sure.
redundancy.
Insanity? When you do the same thing over and over again expecting a different result?
I don't know. I don't know. But
Repetition.
with that in mind, let's jump right into this week's crazy.
You can almost imagine that our listeners are just, like, sitting on the edge of their seats,
I'm sure they are.
wondering what version of this week's crazy we're gonna talk about because there's been
All 10 of them.
a lot, yeah. There's been a lot of crazy this week. The one that I guess we wanna start off with is the announcement of our new acting director of national intelligence. Now, for anybody who's not paid much attention, the director of national intelligence is actually responsible for managing all of the intelligence agencies, right? And how many are there, Robbie?
NSA, CIA, the alphabet soup. And I think they also end up filtering Army intelligence, naval intelligence, Air Force intelligence, if that exists. All of them get filtered through the DNI, which
Yeah.
is the Director of National Intelligence.
So this is a job that we would assume is important that the person is competent to do it,
The
right?
only argument I have against that is that Tulsi Gabbard apparently sat in the role for a while, but this is where the problem lies. So, David, tell me some jobs, just off the top of your head, some jobs where on-the-job training is appropriate.
Busboy,
Busboy, that's a good
yeah,
one. Hey, go out there and pick stuff up off tables.
yeah. McDonald's drive-through attendant,
Okay. Yes, low stakes, low stakes.
yeah,
Worst case scenario, someone's going to get pickles on their special order a quarter pounder. And you know what? Do not go to McDonald's and special order anything. That's not what it was designed for.
yeah. They're like, they might not dodge the incoming shake fast enough and get hit by that. I would think, like, working in retail, working in a liquor store
Okay.
during the late shift.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You should ID everybody that comes in or, give them whatever if they have a 20.
Barista making lattes. Yeah, that's on the job, man.
I
You
think you
just
could learn
make
how
them.
to do that. Absolutely.
So, what makes a good on the job training job? Well, that would be low stakes, a simple set of tasks. And those are the two things that are required, I think. I think.
Having low stakes, simple tasks, something that could be easily picked up relatively quickly.
You start the day not knowing anything about it, you end the day being good at it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, yeah.
podcasting.
Well,
Just like a
it implies we ever got good at it. And
I don't know that we're good at it, but we do it. Two idiots with a couple of microphones. I think that's all you really need. What I've learned is
that
really all you need is
that
a
really
cell
does it.
phone and some AirPods. You
Yep,
can
pretty much. That's the state of the art right now. So
yeah.
let's take that criteria, a simple set of tasks, low stakes, and let's apply it to Bill Pulte as the director of national intelligence.
As far as I'm aware, he's never worked in intelligence for the military, in counterterrorism, any kind of diplomatic roles, and he has no national security background.
Nailed it.
So he doesn't seem like the ideal candidate for a job like the director of national intelligence. That would be my guess.
For our audience at this particular time, by the time you listen to this, basically he was proposed. There was a lot of pushback. It was bipartisan pushback. And the White House actually said, oh, he's not the permanent one. He's just temporary for now. So they sort of backed off of it. They've had kind of a tough week. They've taken a beating on a couple of things. And interestingly, rather than, historically, they doubled down this past week, they haven't. They've taken their lumps. and they withdraw.
And I wonder if that's like, should we be concerned about that piece? Because you kinda get to this point where you wonder for Donald Trump, who classically doesn't seem to give a fuck what anybody thinks about the people that he's putting in, the transportation secretary, we'll talk about him, why not? Sean Duffy, road rules guy, you know? I mean, he's been on a plane, I'm assuming he's probably ridden a bus before.
I think we talked about him once,
We
actually.
did, yeah, and so he doesn't tend to back down, which actually kinda makes me wonder, did he make the pick, or was this just put in front of him and he said, "Sure, whatever," because he was busy worrying about his ballroom, or because 'cause he's been really engaged with the ballroom, with the reflecting pool, the Arc de Trump. I guess I wonder, especially in the midst of a war, why is our president so caught up in these other things rather than this? But then again, I wonder because they're backing down and now kind of changing things. Kind of wonder if he even had a role, like what role he even played in that selection beyond just greenlighting it. And that worries me too, because it seems like he's out there playing mini golf without a ball.
It's interesting that that's your take on it. I did detect that this past week when there was pushback on several things, and we're going to talk about many of them, but they actually immediately capitulated, and that's a
Right.
significant deviation from their norm. I perceived it a little differently. It made me worry a little bit because
Yeah.
I think what we might be seeing is the early phases of an aged emperor who goes back into the private garden and ends up tweaking around with some personal projects while, you know, basically playing the violin while Rome burns. Nero was what
Yeah.
came to mind for me when this happened. So it actually concerned me. Now, let's go back to the DNI. So the DNI is supposed to integrate intelligence. They're supposed to be the ones that protect analytic integrity. They're supposed to be the ones to tell the hard truths to the leadership of our country, coordinate different agencies, reduce overall national risk. And they're supposed to really value expertise because, as it turns out, intelligence gathering is not on the job training. There is no OJT. This is a group of highly skilled and extremely well trained professionals that do some pretty amazing work for the United States and they keep us safe. That's what it's supposed to. When you pick a man like Bill Pulte, and I'm not actually even picking on Bill Pulte. Well, I'm going to pick on Bill Pulte. I'm not going to pick on him for being selected. So Bill Pulte's life has been in real estate, I believe,
Yeah.
maybe even some philanthropy. And it's not necessarily his fault he was selected. Someone picked him. All right. But when you pick a man like Bill Pulte, you're clearly not pursuing expertise or skills. And it makes me wonder,
Well, he
how do
probably
you?
has some expertise. I mean, as the grandson of William Pulte of the Pulte Group or Pulte Homes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm sure the guy knows how to
That's how I knew
build.
that last name.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows how to build a house or, a subdivision and a suburbia. So he's probably has some expertise. He certainly has some experience. I'm sure he's got a lot of leadership working in that world. I guess the difficult part when you run into that and you think about it is that all of those things are not in the realm of intelligence. You said supposed to a lot, and so it's not there.
So what's his claim to fame? How did he get here?
He's wealthy. I don't know. He's wealthy. He likes Trump.
And what else?
He's loyal to Trump.
He's very loyal to Trump. He has been very aggressive in supporting election denial.
Mhm.
He's a loyal man.
Interestingly, he runs his own private equity firm. We At some point, if Donald Trump stops the insanity, maybe we could talk about private equity firms in the future. But he's had a lot of public and legal feuds with his family members within the Pulte family. So that's kind of, I think, the interesting thing is he's not very tied to the Pulte group. He's just the grandson of and shares his name. It's kind of a interesting character that does have a lot of loyalty towards Trump.
He was selected for loyalty.
Yeah. Well, so
So
was Tulsi
and
Gabbard. I mean, I guess that's the thing though, Robbie's, I wonder, I mean, this is so the director of national intelligence is a position that was created after 9/11 because there was a lot of disconnect between the intelligence agencies and their ability to share data, right? So they created this position specifically to prevent future issues like
Siloing. Yep.
9/11. And the fear I think that we would all have in selecting somebody who is ill prepared. I don't know the guy, but I would imagine he's not probably fully prepared for this job for, myriad reasons. But the concern would be then that this makes us somewhat vulnerable to something like 9/11 because the national intelligence is not functioning at the level that one would expect. But pointing our finger at Bill Pulte and saying he can't do this job, he's gonna fuck it up, we're all screwed. Well, it's been it's now June of 2026. Tulsi Gabbard has been in that role since January, February of 2025. She doesn't have the experience or the capability to do that job either. And so it really starts to make you question, do you need to know how to be the director of national intelligence to be the director of national intelligence? I mean, it's
Well, here's my
apparently it
theory
doesn't
on that.
fucking matter. Yeah.
No, no, I think it matters a great deal. My
What?
but my th No, my theory on this, so, alright, he was selected for loyalty, and that was the only criteria that was utilized to select him. It was loyalty. This is a man who will be loyal to me, and, basically, he's selected to protect the leader. Interestingly, one of his primary roles, and this should not be, I mean, this is the director of national intelligence, but Trump said that Pulte would be investigating, quote unquote, rigged elections. And if you'll remember, he sent Tulsi Gabbard down to Georgia to oversee them taking control of the ballots from 2020. That is not a director of national intelligence job. National intelligence is about our enemies abroad, and I suppose maybe to some degree some counterintelligence shit. I don't know, but fundamentally, this was a selection made based on one criteria, and that was loyalty to Trump. Now, what you're hitting on is that these are bureaucratic machines. We have a massive federal bureaucracy. And within that, there are ecosystems that are, say, intelligence ecosystems or the military ecosystem or social security ecosystem, whatever. Those are bureaucracies inside of a bureaucracy. And we have thousands, if not tens of thousands, hell, maybe even hundreds of thousands of diligent public servants who are holding shit together. So it doesn't surprise me that someone who as unqualified as Tulsi Gabbard could sit in the leader chair, be appeased, and the second and third level leadership make sure that the work continues. And then no, it doesn't surprise me at all. However, where my fear is in the long term. So, and there's a book actually. Surprise, there's a book.
What?
It's called The Fifth Estate, but this book talks about all the important work that some of these departments engage in and how when you poison the well, when you put in someone who doesn't know what they're doing, it does have lasting effects because they come in and then they put in other leaders underneath them. They change things around. They mess with the status quo. And it does have long term effects. And I do think there's going to be a tail to this. I think the fact that Tulsi Gabbard was sitting in that chair, and to her credit, she at least was a congressman, and I think she made it, maybe retired from or got out of the army as a lieutenant colonel. She was a major for a long time, but so, good on her. She at least has some experience in some realm that's remotely close. It's not, real estate. So I do think
What? You
this
say that
is
like
going to
that's a
have.
bad thing, like being the heir to a real estate fortune somehow isn't enough qualification.
No, it's a good gig if you can get it. I mean, if someone's going to hand you wealth, that's a good gig
I
if
would
you can
if
get it.
anybody wants to hand us wealth, that's fine with me. No, I guess the thing I was kinda getting at wasn't that the job will get done. I mean, let's be honest. What pick that we're aware of has the qualifications that one would need or want for any of these political appointments from this administration? I mean, am I really gonna look at RFK Jr. and say, that's a guy who should be in charge of anybody's health. No, it's would I look at Pete Hegseth,
Look
Papa
at him and
Hegseth?
think that's a guy that needs to clear his throat. He could have been
Yes.
president if he just would have cleared his throat.
I wouldn't let Pete Hegseth walk my dog, much less run the military. I'm not sure I would leave my kids at home alone for a couple of hours with Donald Trump.
Oh God, no, he wouldn't.
Hey, I don't think he would do anything to them. Like, I don't
No,
think he would, like, molest them or something. I don't think he would watch them. Like, I don't know what they would do, but I doubt they would be, clean and wearing the same clothing. But I guess that's it. Touching on loyalty and not experience, it's just, man, we've seen this over and over again. I think the more interesting thing now is that we're starting to see the administration, and I say the administration because I don't know that it's Trump. It seems like he's getting tired. He's getting bored because everything that he does is so ridiculous, and he's not getting that positive feedback anymore. When everyone was really excited for all the change, and by everyone I mean MAGA, but when people were excited and he could see that, he was good. But now that there's starting to be pushback, and why is there pushback? Because he primaried the shit out of people in his own party, but he forgot that they're still going to be there for like another 7 months. So now they're pushing back. Now, had they had the balls to do that a year and a half ago when he was doing ridiculous stuff, maybe we'd be in a different situation. I don't know if he's getting tired. I don't know if he's getting bored. I don't know if he had a weekend at Bernie's situation going on here. Like, is he actually doing anything at this point? Or like you said, he's fucking meandering
you know what
about
he's
the
doing?
Oval Office. What's he doing? I don't know
We'll
what he's
come to
doing.
it. We'll come to it. What we're gonna get around to it, but
Well, good, but we have a break here, so
oh, okay.
there we go. Read the copy. This episode is brought to you by Robbie's Executive Presence Masterclass. Have people ever told you that you have the confidence of a Fortune 500 CEO, but the actual authority of a guy arguing with a cashier about expired coupons? Then this course is for you, my friend. In just 6 short modules, Robbie will teach you how to, nod thoughtfully while understanding only 60% of the conversation. Say, let's unpack that, to buy yourself more thinking time. Turn a complete guess into a leadership framework, and most importantly, how to say from a strategic perspective. But before absolutely any sentence, use promo code MUSTACHE for 10% off Robbie's Executive Presence Masterclass, because confidence is free.
It is. It is. There's a couple other things that I do, a second and third order effect. And at this particular juncture, those are a couple of phrases that I tend to overuse significantly. And, when I listen to our podcasts, it's very clear to me that I do that. Also, folks, I don't have a mustache. I don't. I don't have a mustache.
Stop lying,
How,
Robbie. Stop lying about your
however,
mustache.
however,
That glorious
we hit a
mustache.
we hit 1,000 listeners. I'll grow a mustache, folks. I'll do it.
You have a beautiful mustache,
I would have a beautiful mane of hair if I just allowed it to grow
just above the lip. All right. Okay,
just
so
above the lip.
next topic.
Yeah, let's talk about what Trump actually is doing right now.
Yeah.
Here's my sense. He's taking blow after blow after blow to his ego. He's failing at every turn. His immigration didn't work out like he wanted. His Doge didn't work out like he wanted. His Iran war didn't work out like he wanted. He is being made to look foolish. Actually, Iran, in an interview just this week, they said, "This is the first war we've ever won." This is the first war we've ever won. They are actually poking us now. They're saying, you better settle with us or we're going to make this a big deal. The IAE is basically now saying that we're in trouble. The International Shipping whatever insurance agency says we're not going to insure ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz. We're looking at a long-term problem. And I think he's aware of it. And I think as the summer wears on, as gas prices increase, as food prices increase, as everything starts to increase, as the Fed has to increase rates to prevent inflation and all the things that are going to happen, I think he's given up. I honestly think he's
Yeah.
just given up and he's going back to what he does, which is build things, paint things. Most importantly, he gilds things. He likes a lot of gold. And that's where we're at. So
Yeah, it feels good. No, it's crazy. I guess what I had read an article recently about the reflecting pool, and what I thought was
my pool
really,
guy.
yeah, that's what's interesting, right? Because you have this no bid contract that he hands out to, as he says, his pool guy, which would be a huge conflict, right? Just a complete
Yeah.
crazy thing to admit, right? Like the scandal there would just be, wait a minute, you gave a no bid contract for millions of dollars to your pool guy, what's the kickback? But it wasn't his pool guy. The contract was given to a company that doesn't do pools. So there's a no bid contract out there to repair the reflecting pool, which I'm sure, a lot of visitors would be happy to see it repaired. And because it was leaking a little bit and that, but it's not done by a pool guy. There was no bidding. There was no who can do the best job for the least amount of money. None of that. It was just handed over to somebody who doesn't even do pools. I mean, it would be like me just going to my father-in-law's house and being like, "Hey, here's $13 million. Could you fix my pool?" And him being like, "Well, I'm retired. I've never worked on pools before, but at 13 million, why the hell not?" It's playing the violin. It just like you said, I guess he's just bored of being president now.
I think so. He did this during his first administration. He got about halfway through and he basically said, "This was a mistake. This cost me money. I'm not doing the things that I actually like to do. I don't like this." He got bored with it the first time around. COVID really put it over the edge because he's out of his depth. He's not a man that can make big decisions
You're out
that
of your
make
element,
sense.
Tawny. You're out of your
Y-
element. You're like
You're
a
like a
child who
child.
walked into a movie. You've got no context.
And it's so ironic that it's a Donnie that did that. So yeah, thank you, Big Lebowski. You're out of your element, Donnie. So I think he's bored with this. He's
Yeah.
done with it. He's over it. He's tired of the blows to his ego over and over again. And he's turning to something where he's comfortable. He's turning to building a ballroom. He's turning to, he's already altered the interior of the White House in such a way that, I taste is subjective, but I can't help but think gaudy. I mean,
I
it's
can't
just
I just can't understand. You have the manosphere who is just behind this guy, just balls deep up him, right? Like they love him for his
that was
masculinity.
visceral. That was
It
visceral.
it was supposed to be. I feel like it
Yeah.
was important for us to bring out that it is, but they
I
they his
puckered. I puckered up a little bit there when you said that.
they like it when he does. But the manosphere loves this guy so much for how masculine and manly he is. But the only thing, I mean, he's not even good at it, but the only thing he really likes to do is interior design and the YMCA dance. How is this masculine? How is this macho? Yeah, I just don't get it. And what the fuck took him so long to get bored of doing a shitty job? How is it that it only took 18 months for him to get bored of being awful at what you do? Like you would imagine that if every day you worked at McDonald's, people were screaming at you about not wanting pickles on their burger, or you kept burning yourself on the hash browns, you would fucking quit a lot earlier than this, right? Like, that's what's impressive. That's what's impressive. That's some
You
staying
think?
power. Yeah, sticking around.
Yeah, so here's what we're looking at. I mean, the reflective pool. Okay, they're gonna do that. We've got this what $400 million ballroom
It's
that
they want more than
he
that. They want a billion now.
yeah that now became a billion.
Well, it
And
was 100 million, and then it was like 200 million, and then it was 400 million, and now it's a billion.
well, it was 100 million, and me and my friends are gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
And then it became 200, 400. Wait, it's a billion now. And oh no, the American people are going to pay for it. And that's the scary thing is that we're getting in the zone where he's just writing checks left and frickin' right, really counter to every. I mean, it's funny for me to even say promise. He made promises. Am I surprised he broke them? He made promises to what, three different wives or four different wives? I don't know how many.
yeah.
I think he broke all of 'em.
I think he made promises to corporations not to bankrupt the fuck out of them, but he did that
Yeah, he
too. So
made promises to unions. He hired people and then decided he wasn't going to pay them. Lies in this direction is just sort of his thing. So,
not
but here
surprised.
we are, and
Yeah,
now we're gonna build an Arc de Triomphe. I mean, it's
the Trump,
insane. It's
Arc
the
to Trump.
Trump, the Arc de Trump. It's insane.
Well, I think what's more insane, we saw this coming. I mean, we don't have a show to talk about this stuff because we thought this is going to work out well, right? Like this wasn't, we weren't, we weren't having daily text conversations going, oh, fuck, how bad is this going to get? Because we thought, oh, this will work out. This is going to be good. He's definitely changed because everybody knows that old white men in their late 70s, the one thing they're good at, change, especially when there's no reason to. So obviously that was high on our list, but no, it is crazy. I think we're in that I wanted to say boredom, right? He's probably going to frame it as bored, right? Like, I'm bored of this now. I'm going to put my attention over here. But really, you've already said he's taken such a beating. And I think we said this months and months ago, how horrible it must be to be the person whose job it is to like cleanse the news before he sees it so that he doesn't see how horrible of a job he's doing. Like the numbers are doctored. He was convinced and probably might still be, although it's probably reality is probably setting a little bit harder that he was really doing a great job and that the polls were just loving him. And they're not. They really haven't. They're about as bad now as they've probably ever been for anybody.
I think they're the worst. I think, at least from the last time I checked, they're the
Yeah.
worst for any president at any time ever.
Yeah. Color me surprised.
Well,
I'm,
and how a man like this, how does he sit with that? How does that impact him? And
yeah,
I think it what it does is it makes him completely disinterested.
there.
He's withdrawing from the role of president and he's becoming a developer and he's trying to make DC look like a casino. And I think it's important that we remember that Vegas was built by the mob and a no bid contract of $13 million dollars to paint the reflective pool, which I think is going to look, I think it's just going to look awful in that bright blue, like swimming pool backyard.
Well, it's not a
You know,
reflecting pool, right? The point of the reflecting pool was to reflect the
exactly.
Washington
That's why it was
Monument, right?
dark.
Like we
Yes.
we needed to see that big phallus, the phallus of America reflected.
Right.
Like we needed two of them.
It made us
And
all feel larger.
we had to feel strong, and nothing says strong like a big white phallus
Big white
just
phallus
erected in the middle of Washington D.C. But no, I
straight to the sky.
is it gonna reflect now? I just because
No, it will not
right.
reflect because it'll be blue.
Because it's fucking blue. So are we gonna like swim laps? Yeah, I bet you RFK Jr. be out there swimming laps
No doubt. In
in his
jeans.
jeans, in jeans. So I didn't. I guess people have been comparing him to Never Nudes from David Cross's
From
from
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development. Yeah, from
Yeah.
Dr. Tobias Funke. I guess,
Fuke.
yeah, I guess they've been comparing him to the Never Nude thing, which it's a non sequitur, but it's funny. I mean, that's a hilarious
It's
thing because
funny.
I would love to see him swim laps in the reflecting pool that's not reflecting now because it is American flag blue.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing. It's not even close to the American flag collar. It is a light blue backyard swimming pool collar is what it is. It's not the dark navy blue of the American flag.
And the question I guess would be, not you didn't get a pool guy to do it, you know.
No, you went to the mafia apparently and just gave him a no bid contract. So
If you look, it does seem as though the color isn't really changing anything about it. Like it's not actually apparently as it gets more filled, there isn't really seem to be any damn difference. So whatever the
okay,
$13 million went to, I don't know.
okay.
God, I hope those people don't. I need to resurface my pool at some point. I'm gonna maybe avoid them, but since they're not a
And
pool company, I don't have to
that's a
worry about
first
it.
world problem. For to our tens of listeners, I need you to send David condolence emails that he has to resurface his pool.
We'll ask Trump.
Oh,
Trump
poor,
talk about Trump's guy.
poor fucking David. Oh,
Okay, so we got a bored old man who's doing the things that he likes to do. He likes to decorate stuff on the inside of
does. Loves
yeah.
gold.
You know what he really likes to do that I've noticed? He likes to spend other people's money on things they
Well,
don't need.
that's what we're actually hitting at. It's not so much his decorative styles and whatever, is that he is falling back because he has been revealed to be so incompetent in the role that he has taken on, which is ironic because it actually does end up mirroring all these people that he is appointing to these positions. They're not qualified. He was not qualified. And so there's this mirror effect going on, but what has happened is he's taken blow after blow after blow to his ego. So what he's done, and this is psychology, that he has fallen back to something that he actually feels confident about. He's a developer. And he's fallen back to being a developer. He's also a promoter. His history has been he's been a promoter. So what's he now doing? He's throwing a UFC fight in his back freaking yard.
It's in the front yard, isn't it?
Front, back.
Right
It
on the
depends on how
lawn.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's in the it's
Was
toward the
it?
back. I don't.
Oh, I thought it
Yeah,
was in the
it's not
front.
in the. It's not toward the front. But he's throwing a fight in his backyard, and he's promoting it. This whole America 250 thing that's been hilarious to me. It's like
Freedom. No, no, no. America 250 was created by Congress like 10 years ago with bipartisan support to set up celebrations across the United States for the 250th birthday of the United States.
okay,
Freedom 250 is what you're talking about. That's what Trump set up. And I know why I get why you're confused
yeah.
because they
Well,
sound really similar.
well, then the tragedy is that this is a big deal. This is actually a really amazing thing. The first democracy in the world turns 250 years old. And this could have been meaningful. This could have been elegant. And it's become gaudy and Vegasy and just kind of pathetic.
No,
I,
come on.
I I mean,
Hey,
it really is.
are you suggesting that a UFC fight held on the lawn of the White House is anything but elegant? I mean, I can't think of anything that symbolizes America as nicely as two scantily clad men,
Trying to break each other's jaws.
sweaty, just
Sweaty.
just
Uh-huh.
sweaty, just like gruff, gleaming it and just grabbing each other. Just
Yep. Oiled up.
just yeah, and just pummeling each other into submission. I mean, there's nothing
That sounds
as
dirty.
elegant. I don't know if you've ever listened to the commentary for a UFC fight, but they are hilarious.
I don't watch them.
I don't watch them either, but every once in a while, you'll be at a restaurant or something, and there'll be a UFC fight on, and Joe Rogan, the great podcaster, we are not. He
Right.
calls those fights, and I like to play a game, Robbie, and I think everybody should try it. It's called UFC commentary or gay porn commentary. And you have to guess what is it that's on the television just by listening to Joe Rogan. And I'll tell you, it's difficult sometimes. It's
It's
difficult sometimes.
hard. Well, and if anyone's watched enough gay porn, it's David to tell you this.
I
So
could tell you, I could tell you, yeah. I saw a commercial. We were at a restaurant several weeks ago, and there was a UFC fight on, and there was a commercial for a televised slapping competition where it's just two guys standing there
slapping each other.
slapping the utter shit out of each other. They're called slap battles, and I encourage you, look it up.
It's called dumb. Dumb.
No, it's okay. It's
Just go ahead and
called
do a internet search for dumb. It'll come up.
it's slap fighting, and it's a combat sport where two participants take turns delivering barehanded, open palm slaps to each other's faces while standing and facing each other without the ability to block or defend against the strikes. If you want to find it, it's called power slap. There's another one called slap fight, but look at these. There are I
How do you win?
you knock the shit out of the other person.
I mean, did they have to like give up or they have to fall down or what?
I think you can knock them out. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've never watched a power slap, but I think if you go to YouTube, you can watch these on there. Dana White, apparently, who runs UFC has something to do with this.
Folks out in the audience, as it turns out, we get to edit these things. So, David, I think right at this moment, you need to pull up a slap fight on YouTube. We will take the time, we will edit it out. I need to know how someone wins a slap fight.
So stupid.
Holy hell. Oh my. Oh, that's terrible.
It is fucking terrible. It's the worst, but
I love the slow mo, so you just see the
yes,
wave
the
pass through their
wave
face.
of
So
somebody's oh my god, just the brain damage that it takes to want to do this, to then do it. I mean, you can watch somebody's skull get rearranged.
slap battles. I just went to UFC here. All right.
Go to Power Slap. And apparently women
Eh,
do this. Why would women do this? Why would anybody do this? How does one win? Like they get knocked out, like they fall down.
Oh, this
So, Robbie, you're asking, how does one win a power slap competition? The answer is hit harder than the other guy and remain standing.
look at the one I just sent you. Maybe we can put it in the show notes or something. But this is two women, and the one slaps the other, and she's like all tensed up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Slaps her, and initially you think, all right, she took that pretty well, and then blood starts to trickle out of her nose, and she begins to cry.
As one would. And then the other girl gets like falls down. Holy shit. Robbie, this is,
I don't know what to make of that.
this is, we're
All
not
right,
part of the manosphere.
we
So
we
the answer is
we have
slap the
ranged
shit.
far afield.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So do you think that's next? I mean, maybe that'll be next. Maybe we'll get some power slaps at the White House. I would love to see Tulsi Gabbard and Bill Pulte in a power slap competition.
I would like to see Pete Hegseth power slapped. And in fact, I would likely volunteer. I would take a slap if I could deliver one
Yeah.
on Hegseth. Anyway, there's one other thing I actually did want to hit on today.
And we will hit on that, Robbie, but not before our next commercial break. So today's episode is also sponsored by Colonel Core, which is a trademark. The first fitness program designed specifically for senior military officers who haven't done a sit up once since the Obama administration. Each program includes tactical stretching, operational grunting, strategic lower back complaints, and our proprietary point at things while junior personnel carry them workout series. Results may vary depending on rank and access to golf carts. Colonel Core. Leadership weighs less when someone else carries it.
You've done a lot of these things, and I've taken them with a reasonable grace. And this one actually frustrates me because, I put a lot of effort into my core, David.
Yeah, making other people carry shit is effort.
Negative,
Effort.
negative,
You,
negative.
you
The
see that? Pick it up.
The day I
The
can't
colonel
carry
says
my
so.
own gear is the day I get out of the army.
The colonel says
So,
so. You go pick
all
that up.
right,
Go pick
all
that up,
right.
son. The colonel
I
says
am
so.
I am looking forward to retirement and sitting on my porch and having people walk by and just, call me the colonel.
I'm
It's the
moving to
colonel.
Kentucky just for that. That's
So,
my plan.
at any rate, all right, moving forward, I am following this $70 billion immigration enforcement bill, which is to support ICE and Border Patrol operations. I'm basically fully fund the Department of Homeland Defense. What has been fascinating to me is, a couple weeks ago, there was that 1.8 bill. Well, no, let me be accurate. It was $1.776 billion anti weaponization fund that was based on a $10 billion lawsuit that Trump had against the IRS for leaking his tax returns, which he, by tradition, was supposed to release personally. He didn't. They got leaked in another way. Not just his, actually, a number of tax returns got leaked at that time. But he had a $10 billion lawsuit against the United States government. He basically was on both sides of this trial. He was the complainant and he was the defense. So he was the one saying, "Give me $10 billion," and he was the one saying, "No, we won't give you $10 billion,"
Yeah.
which is
Well, actually, to be fair, the defense, in spite of having apparently quite a bit of legal precedent to not acquiesce to the $10 billion, made no effort to actually combat this lawsuit. So, just to be fair,
surprise.
he was on both sides, but one of the sides wasn't fighting.
Absolutely, which has been called into question. The judge has halted this, and they've said that there wasn't an actual litigation, that it was fraudulent.
What's crazy to me is that the judiciary is now having to come up with legal arguments against these things that otherwise never would have happened in the past, right? Like, hey, there's never been a time where the person accusing the government of doing something was also the government. And at the same time, the government wasn't even attempting to defend themselves from said thing. There's some weird precedent going on. Like, you kind of wonder. I keep talking about these rat holes. It's, I guess, good that we're finding them, that Donald Trump is very, very good at finding rat holes in the White House, like little places that he can crawl into and shit and do whatever. One of the arguments that I think a lot of Democrats try to make, and I disagree with, is like, well, we could just do these things later. I don't think you can. I think that what's happening now is these are like once in a lifetime loopholes that he's finding that are getting closed up, which is fantastic. I mean, close them up. I'm fine with that. The problem is they're not really getting closed right now, and so somebody's going to have to close them later. But fucking weird, Robbie. It's so
Well, thank you for inserting into my brain the mental picture of Donald Trump's flabby ass finding crevices and cracks in the White House in order to White Hole, the White House in order to take a shit. So thank you
yes,
for that.
he clearly
'Cause
is. You know he would if he could.
well,
He would.
and like a naked Donald Trump. Oh my gosh, so gross,
That's awful. Yeah,
so
that's
gross.
just imagine it. Like is all the hair blonde like that, or is it just the hair that he dyes?
Well, what I'm
And like,
almost
how
struck
much is
by,
orange? Yeah.
how much does his eyes look like pig eyes? You ever spend any time with pigs?
You're not just how committed is the person who has to, paint his face orange? Like, do they have to get the rest of him too? I know they're getting the back of his hand and like the back of his neck because of all the bruising.
They're
But if
not
you
doing a
ever
very good job covering up the bruising.
in your medical career, have you ever made the claim that the only reason a man in his late 70s who is on an astronomical amount of aspirin has bruising on his hand is because
Handshakes.
of handshaking? Is that in your entire medical career, has that ever been postulated as the reason for the bruising?
It has not. It has
Yeah.
not.
Well, now it has. Now it has because there's a lot of handshaking going on, and that handshakes, they're bruising. They're bruising.
Right. Well, I'm actually more chronically distressed by the pig eyes than I am anything else. But that's me growing up in Appalachia. There's been plenty of times that we've raised pigs named Bacon and Sausage, knowing where their life's ending. And there's an incredible similarity between his eyes and your average pig.
We had a pig in the backyard when I was growing up named Freddie Bacon, and
Freddie
she was
Bacon.
delicious.
Delicious. She was delicious. All right. So it was proposed. There was kind of universal, both sides of the aisle. Hey, this is nonsense. This is crazy. We're not going to do it. And with this $70 billion Immigration Enforcement Act, interestingly, they were unable to put in a ban on this, even though there's widespread belief that this is bullshit. We shouldn't do this. The other piece of this anti-weaponization thing, and this is the piece that always catches my eye, but doesn't seem to actually get as much play. The money gets play. Is that inside of this settlement? Is that Trump and Trump's family can never be investigated for anything they've done in the past. Now, sometimes it's reported like past or future, and that's not true. The future is still the future, but anything they've done in the past, that all feels, I don't know, shady. Shady? Shady. That's what it feels.
Well, I think the argument here is that I think it's a pretty good argument. Benghazi. I think that's what you have to think about is that Benghazi. And need I say more? Need I say
I don't know where you're going with it, but
I'm just
okay.
saying. I'm just saying, Benghazi. I think that's enough. I did watch an interview with Mike Johnson, and that was kind of. I mean, he didn't say Benghazi. That's
Is there
I'm sorry. He
anyone
did say
more irrelevant than Mike Johnson?
No, when they ask him specifically why he's okay with everything that Trump is doing,
Benghazi.
he actually says the Biden crime family is what he says. He's like, "They were doing everything behind closed doors, but Trump is doing it out in
Trump
the open, so it's fine." He
Trump breaks
literally
the
said
law
that
right in front of you.
right in front of our eyes, so it's totally fine. There was a time that Biden, it's his fault. So, no, I honestly, Robbie, I think it all comes down, it's Obama's fault. It's his fault. He did this.
I do recall way back when in my local area, there was a fella that painted the back of his truck or put a big sign on it that just said the butcher of Benghazi. And that comes to me now. So maybe it all is Benghazi.
Telling you, it's Obama's fault.
We sit in an interesting time, my friend. This is an interesting time. We've been running our jaws for a long time. I don't know if there's any coherence to anything that we've said. There's not a theme here other than our shared confusion about the state of things. But the thing that I'm holding on to actually is that I kind of think we needed someone to come in and show us where all the cracks were. Because previously those cracks were papered over by shame, that our politicians actually had some shame. Whether they behaved shamelessly in private, they probably did, but they had some public shame, and there was an image to portray. They had to pretend. There was a lot of gentlemen's agreements that put constraints on them. We needed someone to come in and show us where all the cracks are, where all the little holes, the little rat holes where Donald Trump can drop trowel and shove his flabby ass against and fill full of shit. We needed that. And now we have it. And I do think, ironically, the man who probably has posed the biggest threat to American democracy may well, in the sweep of history, be the man who actually saves it, that actually gives us the impetus to mortar up those holes, call in Orkin, kill the rats, make it better.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think, as we sit here and we think about, "God, what the fuck is happening?" It does just highlight so many flaws in our system, especially when, the ability to manipulate large swaths of people to believe things that just are very false, and I think we look at the way that technology has changed. I think our founders did a pretty damn good job of setting up our system, but how could they have possibly foreseen all of these changes that we're seeing? And so one of the most important parts of the Constitution and our government is that they're living things that change over time. The really important thing now is to not be complacent when we're watching this. And that's, I think, the big danger right now is we're even, as we talk about it, is we go, God, what the fuck is happening? You become numb to that as you started off with. You get kind of numb to it. And I think this is another reminder that you can't get numb to it. You got to watch it. You got to see it. You got to experience this pain that we're all going through because that's the only motivation that we're going to have to change it. And the thing I always want to highlight for everybody is that the real power in this country does not lie in the hands of the president. It does not lie in the hands of the Congress. The real power is in the people who elect these people. These are public servants. That is it. These aren't monarchs. This is not a king. This is a person whose job, being the president of the United States, is a job. It's not some title given to somebody who has been born into it. It is a job. It's something that you are elected to become to do the job. And when that job's not being done and not being taken seriously, it's our duty as the people to ask for change, to demand change, to say, we cannot stand for this anymore. And we don't get there by sitting back or by being ostriches with our heads in the sand. You can't just ignore everything that is going on. You got to do something. You got to write your congressman. You got to make the phone calls. You got to show up when there are protests. Quietly show up, be respectful. Don't create damage. Just say, I'm not going to vote to be taken advantage of. You're my employee, right? We're paying you to do a job and you're doing a shitty job at it. So that's my spiel and my prescription,
All
I
right.
guess.
So that's your prescription. I have one as well. So, and we got off track. One of the things with Bill Pulte that I am struck by, just stunned by, and I think I've actually maybe even mentioned it about Pete Hegseth as well, is that what kind of narcissism leads one to accept a job that they are
Yeah.
utterly incompetent to hold, that they have no requirements to. So my prescription is along those lines. Like if someone came to me today and, I've got 30 years in the military, but if they came to me and said, I want you to be the Secretary of Defense, first I'd laugh. And second, I'd say, I can't do that job. I don't have the skill set required to do that job. I don't know what you're thinking or smoking or snorting or injecting, but you go find somebody who can. However, these individuals are being offered jobs and they're actually accepting them. So if you are offered a job wildly outside of your qualifications, you should pause before accepting. And you should ask yourself, am I the best person for this role? Or am I being placed in this position for purposes other than being good at it? And probably also say no.
It reeks of Fall Guy, right? How many movies have you seen where somebody was put in a position that they should not be in solely to be able to have the blame put on their head when they fail?
Absolutely.
Does it concern you that in the sphere, right? Because there are a lot of people who have fealty to Donald Trump. But isn't it concerning that none of these people seem to be qualified to do any of the available jobs that need to be done in the government? Are you telling me you can't find one economist to be in a financial position? Like you can't find one intelligence person who likes you that could be the DNI? Like there's not one fucking person who knows anything about transportation to be the Secretary of Transportation. There was nobody qualified in this group of sycophants to do any of these jobs, not like one. Who the fuck is cooking meals for this guy?
I'm sure he's
McDonald's, I think.
qualified. Well, McDonald's,
McDonald's and like
KFC
KFC,
is,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I understand. So, at any rate, let's put a bullet in this one, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for sticking around. All 10 of you. Share, do
I
whatever you
don't have
need
a
to do. And
mustache.
yeah, you do, don't lie. Thanks so much. Share with whoever. And that's it. But before we go, are you tired of being mildly inconvenienced? Do you believe every disagreement is evidence of a coordinated conspiracy against you personally? Then Robbie's grievance management solutions can help. Their patented 3-step process includes step 1, assume malicious intent. Step 2, ignore alternative explanations. And step 3, launch a podcast. Thousands of satisfied customers have already transformed everyday annoyances into full-scale constitutional crises. Robbie's grievance management solutions, making mountains out of molehills since this morning. All
Well,
right,
hell, David just captured the arc of why we're doing a podcast right there.
that's what I do. All right, well, that was it. Let's cue up this music and